You're now rocking with Ring Kings Boxing. Shout out to the fam, it's Big Q, with another episode of Ring Kings Boxing coming right at you. This one, Spence and Crawford have agreed to a deal to fight on July the 29th in Las Vegas. You can consider it official, like a referee with a whistle, baby. So after so much crap between these two, this is probably, after seeing some of these fights, the Devin Haney versus Lomo fight that happened, we had Tank against Ryan Garcia. This to me could be the biggest fight of the year between Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford, right here in the welterweight division. Man, it's been a while since we've seen an undisputed, unified welterweight champion, man, dominating. Been what, roughly how long, family? That when he had all of the belts, well, roughly about 20 years ago, might be 20 plus years since we've seen it. It just because the welters are so talented, they're so competitive that we haven't seen it in a while. So anyway, let's get into some of the details right here as provided by boxing24.com. Mr. Brian Weber. Welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Bud Crawford have agreed to a lucrative 8-figure 2-fight deal. 2 fights. And I often spoke about it. I kept saying, fam, this is going to be at least 2 fights between these two guys. It could be 3 fights, depending on how competitive it is. And being that these guys are at the top of their game, it could be worked out to be a 3-fight deal. I wouldn't be upset. These 2 guys right here would be phenomenal. But anyway, I'll settle for 2 right now. 2-fight deal. For the first fight on July the 29th, Showtime PPV at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. The second fight will take place before the end of 2023, at which point the 2 fighters will move up to 154. How about that? So you're looking at the fight. So both fights. So, this fight will be July the 29th. Another fight will take place. 2 fights will take place between these 2 guys this year. So we'll get an opportunity to have 2 fights, the first being on the 29th and the one before the end of the year. ESPN is reporting the news of the fight between IBF, WBA, and the WBC welterweight champion Errol the Truth Spence Jr., 28-0 with 22 knockouts, and WBO belt holder, 39-0, 30 KOs, agreeing to the deal. It has taken 2 years and years to finally agree to fight, but better late than never. I agree. There's a strong possibility if the 2 fights are split with each fighter winning one apiece, we could see an immediate trilogy match. I said that before all this happened, provided the sanctioning bodies allowed them to battle for a 3rd consecutive time without getting a contender a chance. So if it splits between 2, that's my thought process is as well. Spence hasn't fought in 13 months, which means that the contenders for his WBA, IBF, and WBC belts will be prevented from getting a crack at the belts for 2 solid years. If there's a trilogy match between Spence and Crawford, would be an even longer wait. The winner of the July 29th matchup between Spence and Crawford will be the undisputed welterweight champion and will be viewed as the number 1 fighter in the division. Bud Crawford and Errol Spence have agreed to a deal to fight for the undisputed welterweight championship, according to Mike Coppinger. So he dropping, this is what this is quoted for. Crawford and Spence will each earn 8 figures guaranteed from Showtime PPV, and there's a bidirectional rematch clause that the loser can trigger within 30 days of the fight. It's a 2-fight deal for Crawford and PBC, sources said, after the probable return bout between Crawford and Spence, which must take place before the end of 2023. Both boxers are expected to move up to 154. And of course, with both guys getting long in the tooth and rarely fighting any longer, you can argue that the winner of their 2 fights might not be the best in the division. They will only be proving who's the best between them. To prove who the true number 1 fighter at 147, Spence and Crawford's winner of their 2 fights will need to face the young lion, Jaron Boots Ennis, because many family members see him as the best right now. You can't dispute that. Boots Ennis is a beast, and it's unfortunate that it took so long for this, so that for between these guys that had to kind of get at each other, man, because Boots is going to have to wait at least another couple of years before an opportunity happens. But who knows if one of the other able to get 2 wins out of it right there, we'll see. But man, This is going to be an interesting fight. So anyway, let's get to it. To prove who the number one fighter at the 47 is, you know what time it is. The contenders at 147 will be pleased about the Spence and Crawford fight getting made because the two have gotten wealthy and only fight once a year. They sat on their titles fighting annually, which is effectively locked out contenders from getting title shots. And that's a little jab at them at the end. But the reality is I'm happy to see this fight finally take place. I know it was a lot of ego going back and forth between them making a fight, but these guys are getting older. There was no place for either one of these guys to go. I've been saying this. If you're listening to the show, I've been saying the same thing over and over again about these two fighters. There was nowhere else to go. If you're in the welterweight division, you have to, if you're Errol Spence and if you're Bud Crawford, you guys on the collision course against each other, and we have to see who's the best there. Now, let's get to the section, and we'll do an Errol Spence and Terence Crawford thorough preview and breakdown later on, but not at the fight zone for July the 29th. We got a few months here, family, to get ready for this great fight between these guys. And listen, 2 fights. I'm really excited because we'll see 2 fights between these guys this year. So that is definitely a treat to boxing family members and diehards everywhere. So anyway, as we get ready to leave, I want you guys to do me a favor and feel free to put in the comment section and let me know, who do you think wins this fight between Spence and Crawford? How do you think it ends? Knockout? Do you think it goes 12 rounds with a split decision going one way or the other? Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. But it's official. It is official. It is official. We finally got these 2 guys on contract for July the 29th in Las Vegas. It's on. So with that being said, I'm going to get out on that. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the share button, and share Ring Kings Boxing on your social media feed. Well, the boxing diehards, we up in this thing. Much love to the family, and I'm going to holler at y'all on the next one. Peace.